Niue, known for its untouched beauty and resilient spirit, welcomed the Pacific's media community for the 7th Pacific Summit. Over the week, journalists, editors, and media advocates gathered to discuss the future of journalism across the region. The 7th Pacific Summit began with a warm welcome as Niue opened its doors.
We are deeply honored to host you members of the Pacific media community and to offer a platform for a robust and topical discussions on the critical issues facing not only the media sector, but our region and our communities.
The official opening ceremony sets the tone for collaboration, knowledge sharing, and regional solidarity.
It is certainly very heartening to see our colleagues from across the Pacific, from around the Blue Continent and further. I know there are some of you who traveled from the Northern Hemisphere to be with us here today. So a genuine whakaalofa hiatu and welcome to Niue.
To take you back, Niue hosted a similar summit 30 odd years ago in the early 90s, known at that time as PIBA, under the leadership of the late Tarake Fusamalohi and our own very own Himatakelesi.
When I looked at your program and I saw, oh, okay, press freedom. Yes, we had a little joust of press freedom nowadays. AI, we have not so much AI. What was the other one? Geopolitics in the region. Geopolitics, press freedom. Has nothing changed, folks? Or maybe AI. Yeah, because nowadays we had to generate our own intelligence. Oh, I couldn't resist that one. Somebody much cleverer than me said social media was either going to be the greatest invention of all time, or it was going to see the demise of traditional society. And when they say traditional society, folks, that's me, that's my society, that's my people. Are you going to tell me that social media is going to see the end of my society? My challenge to you is please, not in your watch. Never in your watch.
The scenic Matavai Resort served as the beautiful backdrop for the Pacific Islands News Association's gathering, uniting the Pacific media family from across the region, including representatives from PCBL.
For the first time in the history really of PNI for the last 50 years, Pacific Media Summit we're going to have a conference app. Never ever have we had a conference app where delegates get all the information about the summit, the agenda, the speakers, and can even network with each other on the phone.
Media landscape has changed dramatically, but I'd like to think that my little community is changing along with it. At one time, we used to just to have radio and print, and then television came along. But now we have another edition, which is an excellent addition in some ways, social media and the digital platform. And with it, I think, has come changes in the way that we not only present, but receive our information. If we allow social media to erode our traditional society, it's because we ourselves, either in the media or in the population as general, has allowed social media to do that.
Social media is, to me, they are partners. This is where we take source. It's a source of information, and it's up to the trained journalists to choose between what is social and what is not. But the social aspect of it, I respect it because it helps you to communicate with other people. But once you abuse it, that's where the problem lies.
Question of media freedom and what it is. I mean, we as journalists and we as media champion that all the time. We talk about why we should be given the space and why we should be allowed to operate in this space. But rarely do we look at ourselves, and rarely do we have a level of self-accountability.
Every country in the Pacific faces its own unique challenges, but by coming together, media professionals can address common issues, share strategies, and support each other.
I appreciate that very much that PINA has come to Niue, because we should be able to hold summits even in the smallest of of our members, but members who have big hearts, who keep, who are also have their own challenges in terms of media development and media freedom.
There's always going to be differences, but as the media community here in our region, we have more that unites us and ties us together. So at the end of the day, we do have a shared common goal.
On the home front, what can we do to work with our governments to enhance media freedom?
We had a plenary discussion with where we were part of a panel sharing with the participants of the summit how Fiji managed to form a Women in Media group, which was a safe space for women journalists in Fiji to share their experiences, their challenges, and when we share these experiences and challenges, they learn from it, and we try and build on each other's success and try and get everyone on the same page. This has also helped other women journalists who are not very out there, like we are, to become, gain self-confidence in themselves.
It's about the need for media organizations to understand and realize that there are challenges in terms of AI and in terms of geopolitics, and how we maneuver our way through them.
Media freedom should be a subject we talk about all the time. It's been under threat for a long time. I know in Fiji we've experienced it quite strongly, and we have kind of overcome one step of it, but it's always an ongoing fight. You cannot just think that, oh, you've got media freedom and then that's it, because it's something you've got to take on and struggle with every day. And it's an important part of governance, accountability and transparency in the region, and making sure that our people are well informed and educated enough to make decisions.
What I liked most about this PINA conference is the agenda. It really tapped into some current issues that are affecting all journalists' work in the Pacific region and elsewhere.
The important thing about PINA is the challenges we face now in the digital space, and how you make a bit of money, and of course how you survive. And then secondly, I'm a promoter of freedom of expression, and we've launched a report thanks to PINA for giving us the space, which we were able to launch a report, which the index which gives us the ranking of the Pacific Island countries in terms of freedom. And one of the things we learned from the report was we all financially struggled, and that doesn't surprise me.
A milestone for Pacific journalism was marked by the inaugural launch of Pacific Islands Media Freedom Index, published by the Pacific Freedom Forum. This index is a benchmark for assessing press freedom across the region, highlighting achievements in areas needing improvement.
We are able to produce this report that sets the platform for us in this part of the world to ensure that we have a report that we can make reference to, a report that will guide us on our next step forward.
We had only 73 respondents. But 73, we look at the 73 and we think, oh, that's only a dot. It's a small number. But then it doesn't matter whether it's 73 respondents or 1,000 respondents or 50,000 respondents. 73 is a big and huge number for the Pacific Islands.
I think we've improved. We're probably higher than we probably should be because I still think that we still got a lot to overcome. Yes, we've removed that MIDA decree, but just because there's no restrictions or something doesn't mean that there's media freedom, because if leaders are not talking or not answering questions or running away and hiding, if people are not understanding the work that we do, I think that's an important aspect of media freedom, is that for people to understand the work we do.
There have been so many reports and so many organizations. They were doing ranking. They were doing index for the Pacific Islands from their perspective, from what they see as here in the Pacific. And this is the most important report because it's by us, for us, and going to the future.
The Pacific Freedom Forum emerged as an Article 19 monitoring network because of what was happening in Fiji at the time. Our journalists were under unprecedented attacks on their media freedom. Their ability to function and do the news was under threat. And this was threats of a very personal and a very physical, dangerous nature, that they could not speak about it. They could not stand up and speak out about it. The support systems just were not there. And so we reached out online first to each other. We found senior media leaders in Tonga, in Samoa, in Papua New Guinea, who all wanted to stand in solidarity, and they did. They formed the Pacific Freedom Forum as an online network. And many of the first alerts we did were about the situation in Fiji, and we're still here today.
Independent journalism is a cornerstone of any democracy. In Pacific Freedom Forum, we believe that independent journalists play a critical role in ensuring that stories or people in power are thoroughly investigated and stories that are of interest are well covered. And independent journalism, they're the ones who can only do that. Public broadcasters or public journalists don't do that because they have an agenda, they have a government to protect.
In our islands, the media organizations are very small. Small as far as funding is concerned. It's always hard for us to get some funding.
I think one of the messages that come out clearly is that fairness, a level playing field to all the media houses should be treated equally because they are doing the same job regardless of where they are and how big they are or how small they are.
I think it means for the countries themselves, when it comes to journalists who are a little bit unsure that what they're going through feels like a threat to their freedom or their journalistic practice, they might go, oh, it's just me. Oh, it's just the way things are. This is just how it is. When they see the report and how it identifies the actual ways in which we self-censor or, journalists self-censor, I think it'll help them to understand more the industry pressures that they are going through and then to identify them.
The most challenging one, as per the report, is cultural. We Pacific Islanders tend to respect our cultures, and for instance, if your brother or if your relative is a minister or a big shot in the government, if he does wrong, you don't want to report about him or her because you are related. And that has also come up in the report. So the solution they're looking at is, if you are related to the person, ask another person who is not related to him or her to do a report.
I think this is a milestone historical moment, and it's wonderful for Niue to be hosting it. So this is a big one for them to be the star of, that they provided the stage for this first ever Pacific report covering 14 countries. I think that's a massive step forward for PINA and the Pacific media family. So congrats to them all.
Central to the mission of bringing Pacific stories to a broader audience are the Pacific broadcasters through Pacifica TV, a platform that ensures the voices of Pacific are heard not just regionally, but globally.
This is made possible through our friends MMG Communications and Pacifica TV, PCBL.
Pacifica TV's role in the region, vital, critical. Couldn't have come at a better time. Wish it had happened sooner. It's really showing that, I guess, New Zealand and its development, its relationship with the region has really come of age. It's recognized that there are all these Pacific broadcasters who really become stronger when they're talking to each other, just like PINA family here in a room. Through Pacifica TV and through PBCL, that ability to talk in the regional room, even in the global room, is able to happen because of the platform or the conduit that Pacifica TV provides for all the stories to be fed and then to feed our Pacific people.
The summit underscores the need for stronger collaboration among Pacific media to safeguard press freedom. This collaboration enables more experienced media outlets to support those still developing, fostering growth and resilience.
How resilient are journalists? How resilient are we in the Pacific? As we continue on from 2024, then 2026, there is going to be another PINA. 2028, there is going to be another PINA. I think that's the call for each and every one of us, to maybe sit back and rethink about how are we going to work together.
I think the issue in Fiji and the region is a lot of leaders don't know how to have a relationship with the media, how to answer questions, and how to relate and build networks. I think it's important that they understand the role we play in informing the public. And it'll not always be rosy, it'll not always be positive for them. But it's an important part of keeping them on their toes. If they can accept that, that's a great way forward. We told our leaders in Fiji recently, it's important that all the time that our relationship is not always calm. There's also got to be rocky at times, because that's where we know that we're keeping each other honest.
Holding the government to account means we gave you these resources, we gave you so much money, and you promised that you're going to do this, that, and the other thing. All we want to know is how have you spent that money that we've given you to build a new hospital? And if you haven't built a new hospital, why? There might be a perfectly good explanation. But we need to know. That's holding the government to account. They don't have to do anything bad. It just means we put you in a position of trust. And when we ask you a question, it means that our trust in you is there to provide us with the appropriate answer.
Journalism is an industry that in the Pacific is facing a lot of challenges, with the rise of social media and with the rise of all other things. But I ask journalists to stay true to the job, because in the end of everything, we are the expert storytellers. We tell stories to the people. We tell stories to the region, to the world. And the stories we tell, they are not make-up.
I think the governments must understand that if the people are going to be well informed on what's happening in their country, they must step up with more funding. For the public service broadcasters and indeed the public service newspapers.
So when we talk about press freedom, for us in Vanuatu, we have to talk about the responsibility. For us, it's looking within our industry and see what we can do to do better, because we have a lot of complaints and we have noticed that journalists in all their reportings, there has been a decline in the practice and protocol of upholding journalism practices. We take a step back and look back at how can we better strengthen our organization and help improve the newsrooms.
We need our mainstream media, and for us on Niue, that's our broadcasting corporation. We need them to be in a position to say, listen, trust us. You can do what you like on social media, but if you want the truth, come to us. Listen to the BCN, because we're the source of good news. We're the source of authority, if you like, on the news. Trust what we report. But that means, of course, for the local operators, upping their game. They must ensure that the news that they're presenting is fair on everybody.
So very recently, that Pacific leaders, when they met in Fiji, endorsed and agreed to walk the talk as one regional family on the Te Aniwa vision. And now you have a Pacific Unity Against Corruption network that is walking the talk.
On behalf of the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, we're based in Fiji but work through the 14 countries, and we have this partnership with New Zealand government's MFAT to assist with anti-corruption training, not only with governments but parliament, media, civil society, youth, sport, a whole range of areas in the Pacific where integrity has become an important issue.
One of the discussions, of course, that we had is the importance of really telling our stories. Usually it's others coming to the Pacific and telling our stories from their own perspective and their own view. And what we're emphasizing is it's so important for us to be able to tell our stories.
PACGN would be an organization fitting for investigative journalists who usually struggle to find a platform where they all can come together and having a stronger body to represent them. We always try to bring them together, especially through press freedom events, where we hosted online sessions via Zoom, because it was during COVID as well. So getting them all together and aligning the work that we do with the Te Aniwa vision, which really is something that has started to make an impact, because during PIFs, we see journalists coming together under PACGN and asking questions in press conferences to our leaders.
We are talking about integrity, we are talking about ethics, and the most of it we are talking about corruption, how the media can work towards highlighting corrupt practices in governments. When I say governments, it's the governments all across the Pacific. We know we have a robust corruption laws in Fiji. Tonga has just got this going, but I don't feel there's enough powers given to the media in any other country in the Pacific so that they can openly go up to their government and say, hey, open your books, let me see how you're spending this money.
Another significant moment during the summit was the election of a new PINA board.
You know, I've only been the elected president for three hours. And I've had so many interviews, I'm losing my voice, and then so many speeches. And the former president, my one talk from Papua New Guinea, Mr. Corano, I don't know how he did it for 3 terms.
I'm happy that the books are audited, and also now we have a 5-year plan, which we've set, and I'm thankful that the time is right, because we've just had it endorsed, and then the new board come in. I hope, I can understand there will be some rejigging here and there, but generally have set this stage for them for the next 2 years.
The Pacific Islands News Association continues to play a pivotal role in advocating for media rights across the region.
To the PINA organization.
I believe they'll be
The newly elected board promises a renewed commitment to press freedom and regional collaboration.
I see media freedom, a lot of different freedoms being part of the 2050 mix. If that's where things are going to be for a better Pacific, a stronger Pacific, I think that at 2050 we are still going to be facing a lot of the challenges that we are facing today. If media are not in a better space, if the issues around inclusion for women, children, the disadvantaged, the vulnerable, if those issues are not taken care of, if leadership and transparency doesn't allow itself to shine as per the Te Eniwa vision.
The voices of those who attended highlighted the deep-rooted passion and commitment in advancing journalism across the region, despite the numerous challenges.
I am so glad that there was a higher ratio this year of women in the PINA board. Ms. Leilani Reklai from Palau, who became the vice president of PINA. Like for us women journalists in the region, she set a platform for us. So that's one of the major highlights for PINA Summit for me.
What hasn't been the highlight? I think everything was perfectly executed, so kudos to the Niue Media Association and the government of Niue for hosting us. They pulled it off in such short notice, putting together the logistics. I love the fact that they've involved the community a lot. Like even our closing ceremony, we're here in one of the villages.
The beauty of media family is that you recognize where you can disagree respectfully with great knowledge and respect for the direction that you're heading towards. And it's always a direction that's for the Pacific, about the Pacific, by the Pacific.
My time in the media ended some time ago, but I am encouraged when I see younger people now taking up the profession. And I think we need young people. We need the younger generation to be trained and to ask the appropriate questions because we live in a very challenging world. We need to ask the right questions. We need to hold our governments to account because in the end, nobody else is going to do us. That's just us.
As the 7th Pacific Media Summit came to a close, it was clear that the journey towards stronger and more resilient media in the Pacific is ongoing. Through collaboration, shared knowledge, and a commitment to truth, the region's journalists are poised to face the challenges ahead.
I think that, for all the issues and challenges that we as media like to focus on, we've got to remember that the solutions are staring us in the face as well. And so every time that we, think that we've hit upon the story of the century, uncovering this, that, and the other, the corruption, the abuse, the misinformation, the hidden agendas, the geopolitics, there's always another rocket scientist of the region being born. There's always a huge example of resilience at work, brilliant resilience at work, that a woman in the village or a young child has discovered by accident, and that's a story that is yet to be told. So I think it's so critical that we get out and really explore this beautiful region that's ours, truly ours, so that we can better tell the stories of the world to itself.
Looking ahead, the next Pacific Media Summit will be held in Savusavu, Fiji, a new venue, but the same commitment to addressing key issues, strengthening regional ties, and amplifying the voices of Pacific.
Coming after the 10 to 16 years of restrictions, government legislated media restrictions, and some really tough and intimidating times, we have a new landscape now, and that summit in 2026 is where Fiji would like to herald to the world that we are free, and the media in Fiji wants to celebrate with the rest of the Pacific.
The summit in Niue marked a pivotal moment for Pacific media, a reminder that while each voice is unique, together we can echo louder and stronger across the oceans. The journey continues, but with solidarity, transparency, and resilience, the future of Pacific journalism looks bright.